Hello and welcome to ASUS. Now normally with these types of videos we like to focus on components, motherboards and graphics cards, as well as the odd monitor as well. So for this one we thought we'd do something a little bit different and take a look at this, the ROG GR8 II. Now believe it or not, there is a full desktop PC packed away inside this little 4-litre chassis. It's got a Kaby Lake i5 CPU, a full desktop grade GTX 1060 and 8GB of 24MHz DDR4 RAM. It being so tiny, of course, brings a couple of advantages. Your average desktop PC is so much bigger and has quite a big footprint, so it can be tricky to fit into a lot of setups. Now this was traditionally the home of consoles, you can stick one pretty much anywhere. Well, with one of these you can do exactly the same thing, except with a much more powerful machine. So now you can be part of the PC master race pretty much regardless of what size setup you've got and how much space you've got. It's also super easy to transport, so if you find yourself moving around a lot, like from university to home for example, or you like doing a lot of LAN gaming, then this is super easy to just throw in a backpack and take somewhere else, which is definitely a massive advantage compared to a traditional desktop. Now I know you're probably thinking that how on earth could a proper PC possibly be crammed into this chassis? Well, I would forgive you for not believing me, and that is why I am about to crack one of these open so we can see exactly what is going on inside the GR8 II. Before I unscrew this, let's check out the chassis in a little bit more detail quickly. On the front here we've got two USBs and two 3.5mm headphone jacks, so it's always going to be easy to plug those vital devices in. On the back there's another three USBs, one of which is a USB 3.1 Type A and a USB 3.1 Type C for ultimate transfer speeds. There's also Intel Gigabit LAN and built-in 2x2 AC Wi-Fi, so whatever your preferred internet connection method, you're not going to have any issues. Also, don't forget the display port and two HDMIs all connect to the GPU, so you can run multiple monitors or a VR headset without having to mess about with any cables. Now let's open this up and see exactly what's going on inside. First of all, we remove this panel from the top of the device here. Next, there are a couple of screws that need unscrewing, 3 at the top and 1 at the bottom. And now we can lay it back down flat and slide off the whole side of the PC. So check it out, this is what the inside of the GR8 II looks like. This massive section here at the bottom you can see is the GTX 1060. Now this is a turbo version, so it's equipped with the blower fan here, and that allows all of the heat from the graphics card to escape from the back of the PC. That means that we don't need to have a side vent, so it keeps the idea of the product looking really clean and nice. You'll also notice that in order to fit the motherboard into such a small chassis, it's actually split over several points. So part of the motherboard is down here in the bottom half, most of it is in the top half, and there's a front panel section along the front there, which is also split away from the main body. On the top half of the system, there's an easily accessible SSD, one of the two SO DIMM slots is visible here, and there's even a slot here for M.2 drives. Although it's not really visible here, the Supreme FX part of the motherboard which controls the audio is electrically shielded off from the rest of it, so you'll find that motherboard audio is actually much better than you might expect. So I mentioned already about the heat from the graphics card being expelled out of the back of the system, but what about the CPU? Well, there's an extra exhaust vent at the top here, so heat from the whole top half of the system is expelled through here rather than the back. This means that there are totally separate ways for cooling the top and bottom half of the PC. So even on extremely extended gaming sessions, you'll find that heat from the graphics card doesn't start heating up the rest of the system up here. This sort of chamber system is actually a really ingenious way of keeping such a small PC cool. It's also relatively quiet, coming in at about 8 decibels lower than the standard for a product of this size. You saw how easy it was to open up the GR8 II, and luckily it's easy enough to make some upgrades too. Gone are the days where you buy a small form factor PC and are pretty much stuck with it without buying a whole new system. To show you exactly what you can do and how easy it is, I'm going to be adding a 2.5-inch SSD for a little bit of extra storage and a M.2 drive as well for ultimate transfer speeds. So I've already got the system open and I've got my M.2 SSD here, so let's put this in. Luckily, it is incredibly easy. All you need to do is undo the M.2 screw here, pop in your M.2 drive like so, and put the screw back where it was before. So in about 30 seconds, I've just added about 256 gig of lightning fast storage. Now that's really going to help performance. As you might imagine, swapping out the SSD that we've got in this system here is also incredibly easy. All you have to do is undo the 4 screws here, lift up the drive in its little bay, and pull out this connector here. There are then just 4 more screws to take the rails off this SSD and put it on another one. And then of course, you just connect it back up and pop it straight back in the system. Do remember of course that the spec can differ worldwide. So in this model here, we already have an SSD in the 2.5-inch bay, but for some there may be an HDD instead. So if you want an extra bit of performance in those models, you could swap that out to an SSD. Or if you already have an SSD in there, you can swap it out to a bigger or a higher performance one. Worldwide, there are also different quantities of RAM available. So for this system, there's 8 GB split over 2 SO-DIMM slots. So for a little bit of an upgrade, you could get a single 8 GB RAM module and replace this one here for a total of 12 GB. So there you have it. If you ever find yourself in need of a little bit more performance from the GR8 II, then rest assured that you can do exactly that without too much of a headache. And finally, let's check out another great feature of the GR8 II, Aura Sync. Now you've probably already noticed that there's a little light cycle effect going on the front here already, but there are 12 different programmable features on here, so you can really change and customize the PC to your heart's content. The lighting configurations here also synchronize with ROG peripherals, so stuff like the ROG Claymore and the ROG Spatha you can hook up to this and then easily control with a single utility. That lighting control is definitely going to help you outshine the competition and create a totally custom battle station specific to whatever you want. Hope you guys enjoyed taking this look at the ROG GR8 II. Personally, I think this is a really cool piece of kit. It's nice to see something which genuinely does have the performance of a desktop PC, but with a much smaller footprint. It also looks pretty cool as well, especially with that Aura Sync functionality on the front here. It's clear that a lot of work has gone into this chassis. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you in the next video.
ASUS